I see myself walking. Yes, good. Down to advanced and intermediate level students, students at home. Welcome. Yeah, look at how this is my first class with the stars. No, I just tuned them out the other day. I knew they were there. All right, let's begin with our breathing.
Trying to figure out the stars.
So they're, instead of dots, they're stars. So we can tell people, I need you all lining up on either red or blue squares. I mean, red or blue stars.
Oh.
Or, you know, which I did, that wasn't an instruction. That was just an example of how the stars might work. And they're placed every other, I think they're roughly 6 feet apart. Definitely needed in the little dragons class because it's, hey, y'all,
That's exactly what he said.
Without them, they're like, what? And so you're like, sail the green, the yellow. And so it's,
You said they match the colors of the stars.
they do that too.
But
So we also have,
what
so
do
there's a
those
little bit
mean?
of correlation, like they match. But these are peel and stick. So if Master
Right.
Board decides you don't like them, we can peel them off.
Well, what do the stars mean?
Yeah, what do the stars mean? Oh, so if you go to the Apprentice Program here, you have to become proficient. You have to be able to teach an entire unit of beginner curriculum in your discipline, or you have to be able to cover a class, like everybody gets sick, everybody's not here, somebody traffic and nobody can get here. Durkin, you're covering a Kung Fu class. They wouldn't expect me to cover a whole unit, but I would be expected to be able to cover a class, a beginner class. So
Yes, ma'am. Thank
each
you.
one of these stars represents past testing out of one of those units. So there's one for Nei Kung, one for first section Tai Chi, one for Tiger Basics, Crane Basics, and Basic Punches and Kicks. So it's basically you get 4 stars, and then this fifth, when you first start, it's assistant instructor. That's the fifth one. So that's what they mean.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad you asked. Education for everybody. What do the stars mean?
Been wondering about that for a
Yes.
year.
So an apprentice, instead of getting a sash with each graduation, you get your patch, your little star patch. So if you look at the apprentices with their red and white tops, you'll see they'll have varying numbers of stars here. All right, story time complete. Let's do it. That's a good one. And just kind of work through that cascade of relaxation on your own, checking in with any tension that you feel. Not saying there's any tension around, it's just seems to be a lot lately, so just let it go if you can for an hour
No jokes, no jokes.
and breathe. Times like this, it's a good reminder that you always have your breath, so when things get hectic, if you can, remember, you can always take just a couple of moments and find your center and find your breath. Try to ground yourself such that you can feel your feet on the floor, be aware of that connection. If you start to sway a little bit, that's okay. When you feel ready, sometime between now and the next 60 seconds or so, transition into embracing horse on your own. tradition in martial arts schools that you do your best to not kill anything. So, if we find a bug or anything, we try to set it free outside rather than smash it.
You guys do that.
Not great today. How's it feeling right now? Right now it's okay. Uh-huh. Very nice. What?
A little bit, this bottom half is good, and a little bit top heavy. So I'm gonna sit back just a little bit more. That will, yes, that balance got your upper.
Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Really?
That's
Sorry. And release, straighten the legs, lower the hands, circle the arms up, inhale. And press the palms down to exhale. So, this first here, if you don't mind, my mom who I'm taking care of just left me a message, so I need to make sure she's okay. Do you mind running through the second section, up to where you stopped, which I know is.
To get the tigers.
Yeah, correct, the two hit the tigers.
Okay.
And if, I should be back by the time you finish that, if not, just run it again. I'll be right back.
All right.
Not a test, you're helping me out.
Begin. Grasp the bird's tail.
Hold your muscles here, so it's gonna be caught up. There you go. Transition, No, you're fine, I'm just letting everybody get caught up. Hang on, hold there just a second, let everyone get caught up. So transition to cloud hands. There you go. And proceed. Cloud hands 1.
Cloud hands 1. Fast 2. Hands 3. Single. At high force. Lift.
Separate right foot.
Separate. Right foot. Separate left.
Separate heel left.
Pushing. Pushing.
Brush knee push. Brush knee punch down.
Punch down.
Home stretch greens, you're hanging in there. Turn around, strike with back
Turn
fist.
around, strike with back fist. Swing time punch. Strike with right heel. Hip tiger left. Hip tiger right.
Okay.
This is what we're starting? Okay.
And you're done, and you're done. Good job, that's a lot.
It's
Thank
like
you,
a
thank you, good job. It's a whole different universe, right? To have
It really
you read
is.
it And think about it and call it, so that is not a small feat, very good job. And on the spot too, so I appreciate you. And by the way, my mom was just calling me to tell me my cats were hungry. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was like 2 calls, I'm like, you okay? She's like, yeah, your cats, they're like not shutting up. I'm like, just ignore them. I'll get them.
They're always hungry.
And it's tell them, they know, just tell them to cool it. Anyway, so that was an emergency. All right, so questions about anything up to this point, anything from cross hands all the way through. We're obviously going to work more on these hit the tigers right and left. But so that's the newest material. Senior head instructor, Big, let me know you did a lot of work on turnaround strike with back fist, hidden hand punch, strike with heel left, and hit the tiger. Or strike with heel right to hit the tiger left. Does that sound familiar? Yes. So that's up to where we've kind of had instruction. Anything above that, the hit the tiger right is kind of new territory. We talked about it in day class a little bit. But before we dive in, any questions about anything else so far? No?
It's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. It is overwhelming, so just hang in there if it gets to feeling overwhelming, and remember, anytime we do a big chunk of sequence, it's just to kind of broad brushstroke, you know, where things go in place.
What you said the other day, I'm looking forward to the conveyor coming back.
It'll come back around. You guys so many times.
It'll come back.
There's my suitcase again. And there we go. Oh, yeah, you're gonna see it many, many, many times. Okay, so does everybody feel okay with continuing to work on those, hit the tigers, and then possibly how we get into that next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, okay, so, let me demonstrate for you and some of the pitfalls, greatest hits, things that might happen, or things that maybe don't happen, but, you know, I just wanna lay out the scenario. So, I'm gonna, remember here, everything looks pretty good here. The main thing is just stand up. You stand up, then you're in good alignment to do your turnaround strike with back fist. When you're just down here, you feel sometimes like, how am I ever supposed to turn around strike with back fist from down here? And you get this weird swaying kind of thing. So first thing, just stand up and then proceed as you would earlier in the form. This looks good. So, everyone feel okay about this rock back?
Yes.
Everyone understands that? Here, a tip that I can give you is, don't just rock back on the heel and then just step like it's nothing. Give yourself a better running start from that. So, what I mean by that is I'm here, I slowly really feel my substantial insubstantial shift from this back leg into this front leg. And so it's a gradual process where I'm unloading this leg and I'm loading this leg. And when you're first starting out, absolutely bring this knee up and just set your foot down to get your balance. And don't feel intimidated or like you need to show off or like get there if you see advanced students coming up straight into it without setting their foot down. That comes later. And a lot of times they're doing that and they run off balance anyway, so it would have been better served if they just touched their foot down for just a second. So know that ultimately this will just come up and kick, but use that. Let that foot get your balance. So there's the kick. And then you guys worked on this one.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so the second one, because I have delicate knees, I have to put this foot in a little bit. You may not have to do that. I don't even think about it, I just say turn your toes in. If you don't need to and you have the flexibility to step all the way back, fine, that's great. For me, or if you've got a hip or a knee issue, I turn these toes in a little bit as I then step to even, so that then I can step back and have the right foot placement for hit the tiger right. So for me, because if I'm here, this, if I don't do this, this is very hard on for me, on my knee. Some other people are more flexible in the knee, they don't have a lot of scar tissue, and this is not a problem. It's a bit of a problem for me. So just know, I don't like to teach it like this is the way you have to do it. Just know that if you're feeling like a twist or a strain on the knee or hip, just turn those toes in just towards the front of the room. Step to even, step back, and then proceed with hit the tiger right. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
And then the next one is strike with heel right, and there's a step. Because obviously, like, this would feel weird to come up that way. That just feels not very stable or rooted. So, I lift the foot up, and I step. I'm not tripping myself, and I'm not stepping too far, nor am I stepping like, I take a step, so I'm crossed, and then from here, and we're going to work on this today, so you don't have to worry about getting this right now. I'm just kind of previewing. So, heel kick, hit the tiger, like you guys did with your head instructor. Hit the tiger right, but it's going to face the door, except I'm looking over my shoulder, but my body's this way. And then from here, there's a step, and that's what opens the arms. As I step up, they cross. Heel kick, right. Sound like something we can work on?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, alrighty. So, let's start from punch downward, so that we can kind of sneak up on it and get some practice for our previous move. So, the end of brush knee punch down. So let's turn around, strike with back fist. Remember, stand up first, and then it'll feel kind of natural, hopefully. Yeah. And hidden hand punch. Good. And strike with heel right, so shift back, pivot, and then really feel that exchange of weight so that you're here and you feel rooted and balanced. And then heel kick, right. And step to even, arms in front. And now, your small sized hit the tiger to the left. If you need to, turn those left toes in a little bit. Step to even with the right. So bring your right foot, there you go. And now you're gonna step back, leading with the heel. Hit the tiger, right. And from here, I'm gonna open the arms as I step across with the left. And then step to even as I cross over with the hands. And strike with heel, right, again. Good. Reset. And again, since we're very leg heavy with all these kicks, it's okay to do some of them low. Like some of them, yeah, I'm really going to try to get some range and some height, and do a couple that aren't so high. So switch it up. Don't strain yourself. And turn around, strike with back fist. Hit the hand punch. Strike with heel right. Hit the tiger left. And then remember to reset. Your right foot comes to your left. And then hit the tiger right. Step back with the right heel. And strike with heel right. So you cross over with the left foot. And then here we are again. Get that root and that balance. Strike with heel right. Good. Release. Questions? Concerns?
Could you go over hidden hand punch?
Sure.
Because it seems like I'm just missing something there.
Okay.
It's not quite, I don't know if
Okay.
it's quite right.
Here. So I reset this heel, and the arms come back, so I can reset this front foot. Now don't do this big thing, but I turn from my waist for hidden hand punch. So there's a back, kind of pull back energy, reset, and then in hand punch.
I think that's wrong. Missing on one of my, what are you doing up here?
Yes, because sometimes it kind of just feels, if I can do it, I'm not sure if I can, but it's not just as simple as here. There's a weight shifting, resetting that's happening.
Right.
Because remember, the application does have a deflect downward. Even though we're not exaggerating it by doing this, the deflect downward is there. So if I'm here, I have to kind of reset so that I can deflect downward, intercept, and punch.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You got what you needed?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
You're just shifting your foot to get the
A
45.
little bit. It's more of a T. Remember, this is that T step, so this
Right.
is going to be kind of different. Yes, but that is correct. It's similar to that, like, follow through, step up halfway, and then, so it's got a little, like, footwork kind of hybrid, like, playing guitar to start it, and then step to, like, your first section, hit the hand punch. Good questions. Yes, ma'am.
Are you spinning straight forward or to the side?
And which one?
On the hidden hand punch. Are you spinning
Oh,
back?
it's a double dragons.
Oh, okay.
So I hopefully, I'm in good double dragons here,
Mm-hmm.
if all goes well. And then I reset this heel wider, see how I reset that foot. And then I bring this in and I step out, and from here,
Right.
it's gonna be a little wide to be able to get to double dragons.
Okay. Yeah. It's so much easier to step forward, but then I lose my balance after.
Yeah, and so that little bit of extra width will help you, yes. And remember, the reason why we set this foot out at this T is so that when I step, obviously this is too far out, which is why it can turn in with the hips. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Did you get that too? So you wouldn't set it out at a 45-degree angle. I'd set it out almost at a 90, not quite, 90 from where the arch is. But then that's not double dragons. So as I turn this hip in, that then brings it into that 45-degree angle. Good detailed questions. Any other questions? Any questions about the hit the tigers or that step into that last kick?
No, we could just see the, hit the tiger again.
Hit the tiger, sure thing. All right, so. Heel kick. This tiger left. And my knee protection there. Hit the tiger right. And step. Yeah, that looks good. You will see some students, I kind of call it Clydesdaling, where it's not an official term, but they're here and then it's this huge, big knee up. You don't have to bring it up that much, but it's an actual step. And by bringing that knee up, even a little bit, that makes it easier to not trip yourself. If you just kind of put it, students have a tendency to kind of just set it super close, and then you're all twisted up and you can't sink, and you can go a little forward from that. So, yeah, that looks good distance.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you basically, remember the goal of where you step here is, I want to step with enough room so that I can change this weight, shift my pelvis, and step even. And if I've twisted myself up, I'm not going to be able to do that without tripping myself. Or if it's out of alignment, it'll feel weird on my knee. So you'll find what works for you. But, you can kind of see, I'm not, it's that way, but it's also that way. And then from here, my hips and my knee feel pretty good. I can keep this knee rounded out without it being super twisty and strange. I can keep my tuck, and then I can kind of step up to here and feel pretty balanced. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Your feet are close but not touching.
Correct. When you're first, when to get settled, anytime, this almost never happens in Tai Chi with your toes totally touching, because I'm a little unbalanced. So, it's kind of like clown hands, but again, ultimately this foot may not even touch here at all. But when you're starting out, it's kind of here, with all your weight on the standing leg, that leg foot. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, if I give you a couple minutes, you guys have enough to practice something in that little chunk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I will be making the rounds to answer questions. So remember, you're gonna step across to start that kick. Uh-huh. Run like a pro. Yes, Mr. Watkins.
It may not be standard form, but I've been experimenting with kinds of arms are a lot higher.
A little higher?
It's a little bit easier.
Give it a try. Just, I would caution, I mean, that looks okay, just not have them too far back, yeah.
No, I'm thinking this.
Yeah? Huh,
Just
whatever works though.
experimenting this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah,
And it's also a lot easier in the morning.
it is, yeah, the end of the day, yeah. For me, it's end of the day and end of the week, like, you know, it's, there, for me, there's such a thing as Thursday needs, like, that's a thing. Good, Mrs. Payne. Try not to look down, and suspend it, there you go. Good question. Oh, pivot into the first kick, there you go. Mhm. Yeah. Take all the time you need. There you go. There you go, good. Good, Ms. Garcia, I've seen a lot of improvement on those over the last couple of weeks. Good work. Good work. But you know, it integrates, but since I know you've been working on this section quite a bit over the last 6 to 8 weeks, it shows good improvement.
I know, I just feel the difference in the hand attack that I've been doing. My feet were
They're
yellow.
the opposite, that's
Yeah.
what I remember, it
It's
was,
easy.
yeah, yeah. Mhm, mhm. Good, Mr. Payne. Hold here for just a second, yeah?
Yeah.
Sit your hips back, just a tiny bit. There you go. And then turn to the lateral body, there
Yes,
you go.
yes.
Yeah, there you go, good, good.
And then up. And
Was it your first one or the second one?
that's the, it's to the right.
Okay, so, when you're here, that's when that step happens. So we're here, and then we go that way, back towards the mirrors. Yep. First strike with heel, right. And then we haven't talked about what comes next.
Fall over.
Fall over. Fall over as we do a quick turn that way.
Break away.
Oh, I can't see myself because I'll mess up.
Look up, Mrs. Payne. There you go. Yeah, that'll help you. I know it doesn't seem like it's gonna help you, but it will.
Just
And then bring right foot to left, and then you can proceed to hit the side of your left. Good. Huh? Yep. Nice. Very good. Okay, 30 seconds, come finish the ones that you're on, give your legs a break. So much thinking in slow motion. All right, questions?
It seems harder than, I mean, it looks simple enough that it seems harder when you do it.
It is hard, it's challenging. It will feel easier when you get comfortable distinguishing where your weight is and that flow. And also, if you don't look down, if that looking down, it puts extra weight and it brings your weight forward and top heavy, and it makes it harder. So the more you can think about that plumb spine, head, be upright. You know, I may lean or twist a little bit, but I'm really I'm letting gravity help me. I'm not giving extra tips in any direction to make that more difficult.
I have a little disconnect when I'm following your instructions, when I'm following you, it's when I'm trying to do it on my own.
Of course, of
It's
course.
just doesn't-
Absolutely.
There's a missing piece in the puzzle there.
Yes, and I know what a struggle that feels like. So please don't think when I'm like, try it on your own, that I think you're like, nailed it. I mean, I know that can be one of the most uncomfortable, tasks that we as instructors give you, is to try it on your own. But a head instructor, I don't know it all. I know you don't know it all, and that's okay. I'm not asking that you know it all, but by trying it, you're laying down those neural pathways that even if it's not making sense and you don't think you're getting it, you absolutely are getting it. So just be patient with yourself and try not to get too disgruntled with us. We're like, no, keep going. You're doing great, because you are doing great. But I do know it's uncomfortable when it's like you feel like you've got half your map has maybe been erased. You're like,
As soon as I put something new on, the whole place before that kind of falls apart for a while.
which part?
Well, no, if I have a new move
Oh,
or two, and
absolutely.
then
And then that
everything
thing that you
behind
just
it
did is kind of nebulous and gone.
Yeah.
It's like grasping in a vapor. I get it. You will find with time that that's always going to happen. Like it happens to me when I'm learning stuff in my advanced black sash class. I'm like, okay, no, this is good. No, wait, what comes before that? So that doesn't change, but it does come back. It does come back. Okay, so, and let's see, so before we go, yes, ma'am.
After your hip and hand punch, when you're doing it, are your hands going
Yes.
out to come in?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. So on that note, I'm gonna do, how I like to exaggerate things to emphasize feeling and where your weight is. So kind of in keeping with that, what I want us to play with for the remaining 4 minutes or so that we have is that exchange of weight, and the upper fall is lower. So substantial, insubstantial, and upper fall is lower. So I'm gonna do it in a really, hopefully exaggerated way. I mean, obviously, not like it looks bad, but that hopefully it's like, oh, I see what she's doing there, not just making it like arbitrarily weird looking. All right, so this always helps me to kind of get into it, to get some moves behind. That always helps me a little bit of a pickup. So I'm going to exaggerate my arms a little bit. So,
Open the toes.
and that closing helps make sense for this foot to come up. And then they come up and out. Kick. And then same thing here. There's a circle that happens here. I sink, step. So did you see it? There's this thing.
Yes.
And then they reset. And then I sink and step back and they open, shift, close. And then they open. And then they close. And then they come into that kick. That's it. No, it's not bad. It's not bad, particularly if you're trying to learn. The question was, is exaggerated bad? No, it's not. I would rather see it big so that you can feel, oh, where are my arms and how does this closing, does it help my weight, bring that foot up? Yes, it does. With time and experience, you'll see that start to tighten in just a little bit. So, it's here, but I'm not making it quite as pronounced, but it's all there. But definitely for me, like if I'm, where's my weight? It's here, where is it? Now I'm tipping forward so that foot has to come up. Like that's what I mean. Like let's take those next 2 minutes. Just pick a kick or two. You don't have to do the whole sequence. Just see if you can really exaggerate and pay attention to which foot your weight is on, where your head suspended is, where are your arms. If that makes sense, just pick a kick, any kick. Notice it. You got it, Mrs. Payne. And then eyes up. Yep. And look at where you're kicking. That will help your balance. Yep.
Should you sink as well, or not?
A little bit. You certainly come up.
Okay.
Coming up will make it harder. And then feel like a compression in both your feet as those arms come in, and then you step out. See if you can find what I'm, yeah. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep, yep. Yeah. That was, did you feel it? Or
Yes,
start-
that, yeah.
Yeah, good.
That was, the last part I felt. Okay.
Because your arms will help you in this. When you find the groove, the arms help the lower body. They're not just there to confuse and consternate. They will actually help you. Question?
Actually, no, I just actually held it there for a while. I'm amazed.
I know, see? That was correct. Just toes towards the mirror. You were super close. Oh. So if they're coming from here,
It's hard to not do the next meeting.
here. There it is. Good. It was 30 seconds or so before we bow out. Good. Feel okay?
Yes, I think that's today.
All right, ting.
Ding.
All right, take out the legs. I know there's a lot of, said it before, but I always say with kids, every day is leg day in Tai Chi. And if your legs don't feel like it was, you did it, then I would invite you to sink a little bit. How's everyone's knees feeling? Knees feel okay? Hips feeling okay?
Yes.
Perfect. I love it. All right, so we will continue with this. What the next move that happens is, don't freak out because you guys can all totally do it. Quarter turn, box the tiger's ears. So that's what's on deck next. Everyone freaks out about it. It's a 180-degree turn. It's actually just a quarter turn. It just looks like a 180-degree turn. And I'm the queen of bad knees, and this move never gave me trouble. That doesn't mean it won't give you trouble. I'm just saying that it is doable. Like if my sad knee can do it, I am confident that you can do it too. And it's fun. So, box the tiger's ears is a fun one. Let's go ahead and bow out to our life skill. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Now to advanced and intermediate level students at home. Full access training is dismissed. Good job.